Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics, the 1994 D-dime. You might not think much of a single dime, but believe me, this little piece of history could be worth a lot more than its face value. So stick around as we explore the history, value, and the potential worth of this 1994 D-dime. First off, let's talk about the 1994 D-dime itself. This coin is part of the Roosevelt Dime series, a series that has been in circulation since 1946. And for those of you who love coin collecting, you might already know that these coins are an essential part of any U.S. coin collection. But what makes the 1994 D-dime special? Let's start with the basics. The 1994 D-dime was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark on the reverse of the coin. Now, the Roosevelt dime itself was introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. The design was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, while the reverse shows a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Now, let's zoom in on the year 1994. According to records, the U.S. Mint produced approximately 1.7 billion 1994 D-dimes, making it a relatively common coin in terms of mintage. But just because the coin was mass-produced, doesn't mean it's not special. There are several factors that could potentially raise its value over time. One of the biggest factors in determining the value of a 1994 D-dime, or any coin for that matter, is its condition. Coins come in a variety of grades, from heavily worn examples that have seen years of circulation to pristine, uncirculated specimens that look as if they were just minted yesterday. If you happen to find a 1994 D-dime that's in MS67 or higher condition, you may be in luck. MS67 is a high-grade coin, with minimal wear and very few imperfections. In this condition, a 1994 D-dime can be worth $10 to $20 depending on the demand in the market. However, don't expect to get rich from one uncirculated coin alone, but it's a good start if you're just beginning to collect. In recent years, some rare examples of the 1994 D-dime have been sold for much higher amounts, though these coins are few and far between. For example, one of the most notable sales was a 1994 D-dime in MS68, which fetched over $200 at auction. It's important to note that mint errors or unique characteristics can also significantly increase the value of a coin. Speaking of mint errors, the 1994 D-dime is no exception. Some rare errors, like a double die, off-center strike, or misaligned dies, can make a common coin into a very valuable one. For instance, a 1994 D-dime with a noticeable error like a double die could sell for hundreds of dollars, depending on the severity and rarity of the error. Let's break it down. If you're lucky enough to come across a double die 1994 D-dime, it could be worth anywhere from $50 to $200 or more depending on the error's prominence. A misaligned die error might fetch anywhere from $10 to $50. Even more extreme examples could bring in thousands of dollars, though these are extremely rare. So, how can you spot these errors? The best way to check is by inspecting the coin closely under good lighting and magnification. Look for doubled lettering, off-center strikes, or uneven details. If you find something that seems off, it's worth taking the coin to a professional coin grader or appraiser who can give you a better idea of its true value. One key step in increasing the value of your 1994 D-dime is getting it professionally graded. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can assess the condition of your coin and give it a certified grade, which will help you determine its exact worth. A coin with a high grade can significantly increase its value, while an improperly graded coin could end up being worth much less than expected. But here's the catch. Even though the 1994 D-dime is not necessarily going to make you a millionaire, it's still an excellent coin to have in your collection. Especially if you're just starting to learn about coin collecting or looking for a relatively affordable investment, this dime can be a solid starting point. As we wrap up this video, let's talk about the bigger picture. The 1994 D-dime is just one piece of the vast history of U.S. coins. Even though it's not the most valuable coin in the world, it's a representation of American numismatic history. And for collectors, that's worth more than just its face value. So, to sum it up, the 1994 D-dime is a relatively common coin, but depending on its condition and any potential mint errors, it could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to a few hundred. Keep your eyes peeled for those errors, and remember, when it comes to coin collecting, it's all about finding those hidden gems. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us about any cool coins you've found. Also, share this with your friends who love coin collecting. Thanks for watching. In today's video, we're diving into a coin that's not often talked about, but could hold a hidden value: the 1983 P and 1983 D dimes. These coins are part of the Roosevelt dime series, and while they may seem like simple, everyday dimes, there's a lot more to these coins than meets the eye. From their rich history to their potential value on the market, let's break down why the 1983 dimes could be worth a lot more than just 10 cents. So stick around as we explore their history, value, and how they could turn into a small fortune. Let's kick things off with the basics. The 1983 P and 1983 D dimes are part of the Roosevelt dime series, which was introduced in 1946 to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. The dime's design was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. It features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, and the reverse design includes a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. Now, let's talk about where these dimes were minted. The 1983 P dime was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, as indicated by the P mint mark on the reverse. Meanwhile, the 1983 D dime was struck at the Denver Mint, marked by the D mint mark. Interestingly, the 1983 P dime holds a special place because it was the first year that the P mint mark appeared on dimes after being absent for many years. It wasn't until 1980 that the Philadelphia Mint started adding a mint mark to coins again, and the 1983 coins mark the continuation of that tradition. Let's take a quick look at the historical context. The year 1983 was an important year for the U.S. economy. The country was recovering from a recession, and inflation was still a significant concern. Interestingly, the U.S. Mint continued its practice of using copper-nickel alloy for the production of dimes, as silver had been phased out in the 1960s. By this time, the Mint had been producing millions of dimes each year to meet the demand for coins in circulation. But what does this mean for the 1983 dimes today? In 1983, the Philadelphia Mint struck about 672 million dimes, while the Denver Mint produced approximately 868 million. As you can see, these were very high mintage numbers, which means that in terms of sheer quantity, they are not particularly rare. With such large numbers in circulation, most of these coins aren't worth much more than their face value of 10 cents. So, where does the value come in? Well, just like any other coin, the condition of the 1983 P and 1983 D dimes is key. If you happen to come across a coin that's been heavily circulated, it's probably not worth much beyond face value, maybe 10 to 25 cents at most. However, the true value of these coins lies in those that have been preserved in mint state or uncirculated condition. If you find a well-preserved, uncirculated 1983 dime, particularly in mint state grades like MS65 or MS66, it can be worth $5 to $15. And for those of you who might have a superb example in MS67 or higher, you might see values closer to $25 to $50 depending on market demand and specific coin characteristics. While this may not make you rich, it's definitely a nice little surprise if you have an eye for spotting quality coins. Keep in mind, not all 1983 dimes are created equal. There are some examples that might catch the eye of a serious collector due to rarer features, such as mint errors. Mint errors are one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting, and the 1983 dimes are no exception. Double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other errors can make an otherwise ordinary dime worth a small fortune. If you happen to find an off-center or double die 1983 dime, the value can escalate quickly, sometimes reaching $50 to $200, or even more depending on the severity of the error. For instance, a double die error on a 1983 P dime, where the details of the coin appear to be doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process, could potentially sell for $100 to $300 depending on how prominent the error is. Similarly, an off-center strike or misaligned die error could fetch anywhere from $50 to $200 or more if it's a rare example. If you believe you've found one of these rare errors, it's always a good idea to send the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies can assess the quality of your coin and provide you with a grade that will determine its market value. Coins with higher grades or notable errors can be much more valuable than a standard coin in circulated condition. At the end of the day, while the 1983P and 1983D dimes are not necessarily worth a fortune in their standard, circulated form, they are still an important part of American coinage history. These coins reflect a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning and adjusting to economic pressures, and they are a staple in any Roosevelt dime collection. Whether you're just starting your coin collection or you've been collecting for years, it's always worth keeping an eye out for well-preserved examples of the 1983 dimes. And don't forget to look for those special mint errors. You might just strike gold. So, to sum it up, the 1983P and 1983D dimes may not have the highest value in their regular forms, but if you find them in mint state, or with a rare mint error, they could be worth a nice chunk of change. Whether you're a collector or just someone who enjoys sifting through pocket change, these dimes are definitely worth a second look. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about the 1983P and 1983D dimes, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts or your own coin finds in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching, and happy collecting! Coin collectors, enthusiasts, and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into two fascinating dimes that you might have overlooked, the 1987P and 1987D dimes. These coins, though seemingly common, could actually hold significant value if you know what to look for. So, grab your magnifying glass, because we're about to uncover the history, the current market value, and even some exciting ways these dimes might be worth a lot more than just 10 cents. Let's start by getting familiar with the basics. The 1987P and 1987D dimes are part of the well-known Roosevelt dime series, which was introduced in 1946 to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing in 1945. The coin features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, designed by U.S. Mint engraver John R. Sinek. The reverse of the dime, designed by Sinek as well, displays a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, which symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. The dimes were struck in copper-nickel alloy, a material used since the mid-1960s after the U.S. Mint transitioned away from silver due to rising silver prices. By 1987, the U.S. economy was on the rebound after a period of inflation and recession in the late 1970s and early 1980s. The country was moving forward, and so was the U.S. Mint. In 1987, the Philadelphia Mint produced about 613 million dimes, and the Denver Mint produced 1.4 billion dimes. These high mintage numbers are why these coins are still relatively easy to find today. So, with those high production numbers, these dimes are far from rare. But here's the thing, while they may not be considered rare in terms of total mintage, there are still factors that can make them valuable to collectors and investors alike. Let's dive into that. Like any coin, the condition of the 1987P or 1987D dimes plays a crucial role in determining their value. Most of the dimes you find will be in circulated condition, which means they've been used in everyday transactions, showing signs of wear and tear. In this state, these dimes are typically worth just face value, 10 cents, or maybe slightly more, anywhere from 15 to 30 cents depending on how well they've been preserved. But the story changes when we talk about uncirculated dimes. If you happen to find an uncirculated 1987p or 1987D dime, particularly one that's in mint state condition, like MS65 or MS66, it could be worth much more. A coin in these grades can fetch anywhere from $5 to $10 depending on the market demand. And if you find a dime that is graded MS67 or higher, you could see values rise to $20 or more. If you've got an eye for detail and come across a pristine 1987 dime, you could be holding onto a coin worth more than just a few cents. But what about those dimes that are still circulating? Let's take a look at how rare mint errors can change everything. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the discovery of mint errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, resulting in a coin with a flaw that makes it unique. For example, a double die error on a 1987p dime, where the image is doubled due to a misalignment in the die, can significantly increase the value of the coin. Depending on the severity of the error, a double die 1987 dime could be worth anywhere from $50 to $200 or even more. Other mint errors, like off-center strikes, misaligned dies, or die cracks, could also dramatically increase the value of these coins. Some of these coins, in excellent condition, could even be worth over $100. If you think you've found a rare mint error on your 1987p or 1987D dime, it's always a good idea to have the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading services will assess the condition of your coin, identify any potential errors, and assign it a grade that helps determine its market value. Coin collectors and investors alike are constantly searching for those rare and unique coins. While the 1987p and 1987D dimes might not be worth a fortune in their basic form, they can still make a significant impact in your collection, especially if you're lucky enough to find one in excellent condition or with a unique mint error. Coins like the 1987 dimes also have historical significance. They are part of the Roosevelt dime series, which has been a symbol of American currency for decades. While other coins have come and gone, the Roosevelt dime has remained a constant, and it represents a period of American history when the country was experiencing challenges and change, from the Great Depression to World War II and beyond. Whether you're collecting for fun, investing in rare finds, or just looking to complete your Roosevelt dime series, the 1987p and 1987D dimes are a great place to start. These coins, while not always valuable in their standard condition, offer a glimpse into the history of American currency and the changing times of the 1980s. So, to sum it up, the 1987p and 1987D dimes might not be considered rare in terms of their mintage numbers, but their value can really increase if you find them in mint state or with a rare mint error. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual hobbyist, these coins are definitely worth keeping an eye on. Who knows, you might just find a hidden gem that could be worth a lot more than you think. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1987 dimes, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin-related content, and let us know in the comments if you've found any interesting coins in your own collection. We'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting! Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing coins from the 1980s, the 1980p and 1980D dimes. These little silver coins might seem common at first glance, but they hold a fascinating history and potential value that you definitely want to know about. So stick around as we explore the backstory, the current value, and the big bucks these dimes could be worth today. Let's get started by talking about the 1980p and 1980D dimes. These coins are part of the Roosevelt dime series, which was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. The design was created by U.S. Mint engraver John Sinek, who included a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, an oak branch on the reverse. These design elements symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. The 1980 P dime was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as denoted by the P Mint mark, which is now standard for coins minted in Philadelphia. The 1980 D dime, on the other hand, was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark. While the 1980 P dime is relatively common, there are a few factors that can increase its value if you're lucky enough to find a rare one. To understand the context behind these dimes, we need to talk about the times. In 1980, America was in the midst of an economic challenge. The country was experiencing high inflation, and the economy was in a bit of a downturn. Interestingly, the 1980 P and 1980 D dimes were struck in copper nickel rather than silver, which had been used in earlier dimes. By 1965, the U.S. Mint had phased out silver in dimes and other coins due to rising costs, making copper nickel the standard for the dime composition by the time 1980 rolled around. Now, let's take a look at the production numbers. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint struck 1.4 billion dimes, while the Denver Mint struck about 1.6 billion. That's a lot of coins circulating at the time. So, with such high mintage numbers, you might think these dimes wouldn't be worth much today. However, there are still some factors that make them valuable to collectors. First, let's talk about condition. Like any coin, the state of the 1980 P or 1980 D dime will heavily influence its value. Most of the 1980s dimes that you come across will likely be in circulated condition. These dimes might show signs of wear, and their value is usually just a bit more than their face value of 10 cents, maybe 15 to 25 cents depending on their state. However, the true value lies in ungraded, uncirculated examples. If you happen to find a 1980 P or 1980 D dime that has been preserved in pristine condition, it could be worth much more. Coins in mint state or MS-65 to MS-67 can sell for $5 to $15, depending on the demand in the market. If the coin is especially well preserved and graded higher, it can be worth even more, particularly for collectors seeking high-quality examples of the Roosevelt dime series. Now, the real treasure in coin collecting often lies in rarity, and the 1980 dimes are no exception. As we mentioned earlier, the mintage numbers for the 1980 P and 1980 D dimes are high, which means they aren't inherently rare. But don't be discouraged just yet. There's always room for a bit of luck in the world of coin collecting. One of the most exciting ways that a regular 1980 P or 1980 D dime can increase in value is through mint errors. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during the coin production process, creating a unique anomaly. These can include things like double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, and more. While such errors are relatively rare, they can significantly boost the value of the coin. For example, a double die error on a 1980 P dime can be worth anywhere from $50 to $200 depending on the severity of the error. Similarly, an off-center strike could also fetch anywhere from $30 to $100 depending on the rarity of the specific error. If you're lucky enough to find a dime with one of these errors, you could be sitting on a small fortune. If you think you've found a rare 1980 P or 1980 D dime, it's always a good idea to send it to a professional coin grading service, such as PCGS or NGC. These services can accurately grade the coin, assign it a value based on its condition and rarity, and help you determine whether it's worth more than just a dime. In the world of coin collecting, it's not just about finding the rarest or most valuable coin. Sometimes, the journey itself is what makes the hobby so rewarding. The 1980 P and 1980 D dimes might not be as valuable as some of the rarest coins out there, but they represent a moment in time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning to different materials, and they are part of the rich history of American currency. These dimes, especially from 1980, remind us of the history behind the coinage in our pockets. They represent the final years before the introduction of some of the most iconic modern coins in the U.S. Mint's history. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned numismatist, these coins are worth keeping an eye out for. So to sum it up, while the 1980 P and 1980 D dimes are not necessarily high-value coins in their standard form, They can certainly be valuable if you find one in mint condition or with a rare mint error. A coin in excellent condition or with a notable error can bring in a few bucks, and if you're lucky enough to stumble upon a particularly rare one, it could be worth even more. Always remember to check your pocket change carefully, because you never know when you might come across a hidden gem. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1980p and 1980D dimes, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below letting us know if you found any interesting coins in your collection. If you have any questions or want to share your coin stories, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting!